Hi guys, it's Liam and Luke here from Powered Now, and we want to give you an overview of our latest version of Powered Now. So, Powered Now gives you more profit and less hassle, and this time around we're just giving you more. So, we're giving you more compliance, we're giving you more customization and more control. So, we're going to take you through the creations, the setup, the access to engineers and what they do. And this particular screen is obviously the login screen. So we're going to talk you through the whole setup. So as you can see, we've got some details populated. We're going to click the register button. And also worth mentioning on that screen, you have got your forgot your password button. So if that does happen, you can click that and email yourself with a new password recreation. And then we're going to go through the setup of the first initial part of the business. So we want to put our business name in there, our industry type, and how many people work within the business. Obviously, important to get your name in the system and also the telephone number that you want to show on documentation. So we're quite happy with that detail. We'll just click finish, and then we'll go through the creation stage. So it's always best to get as much information as you can initially straight away set up. So we're going to get greeted with our address. So this was what populates actually on your documentation. So we want to get this detail in there. We've got the postcode lookup feature, and we're just going to click next. And then we've got our VAT details. So a lot of people tend to skip this stage. You can go into the tax settings and set it up later, but for this purpose, again, we know our detail, we'll pop it in. And then we're on our template. So there's about 30 predetermined templates in here, and you can select your different types. We've got a few that are already industry based with a few different images and stuff on there. But this is where the branding comes in. You can upload your images, so you can click the add image and you upload your files. So we've got, again, the catalog in here with all different industry types already there. But obviously, if you upload them, you can select them directly from your sort of desktop or from your mobile device, and you can just upload your logo. So as you can see Luke doing here, he's just populating his Powered Now logo. And from here, we can move it around, we can resize it, we can remove it. There is no limits to what sort of logos you want to put on there. So if you want to put some accreditations and things on there, you just carry on. So very simple, just to add as many logos as you like. So as you can see, accreditation on there as well, and we're quite comfortable with how our document looks. Again, it's all about the professional look that we want to give to our document. So we're quite happy with the template right now, and we click start and use Empowered Now. So as you can see, we're greeted with a dashboard, so everyone gets this in trial. And we've got some details along the top right-hand side and the left-hand side, and we'll cover some navigation in a little while. But the most important thing is to keep this setup going on. So if we pop into the settings, what we'll do is Luke will click into each box and we'll talk about what's important in each box and maybe some of the benefits of why setting things up are important. So initially, we'll go into the general settings. And then here you've got what is your business hours. So we've got some tracking in the system. So your staff are actually tracked via their device, pinpoint them on locations and give them routes to jobs and things like that. So we've got all the times and dates of when you want them to be tracked. We've also got some delete data buttons. So if you want to start the account afresh after having a play around with it, you can do that in here. Then we've got some projects tab, and this is where you can set up some project statuses. So we'll get into the status and why they're important later, but the project statuses you can create in here can be managing the business workflow. So your engineers can actually change these status, maybe not off the box, and it's a customizable control that we can add. But if it's waiting to be quoted or ready to be invoiced, you can actually set up these different status in here, and you apply these two different projects. So it's an overview of what's going on in that job from just one screen. So that's what Luke's doing here. He's just setting up some status and to give them some color coding as well, so they're easily visible on that project screen. I think we've created enough there to get us rocking.
Just having a
And
few? Yep, no
yeah,
problem. Just
and
coming
then
through.
we've also got some project numbering as well. So if you want to show numbers instead of actual names, we've got that down here. And obviously we've also got some auto archiving. So important as your account grows and as the business grows, the more documents you're sending, the more appointments. Obviously it's all stored within the device. So you may have some old information, maybe a year old, and you want to just hide that information. Obviously it's always retrievable from the cloud, but we will back that information up and then maybe not display it in the device. So important to set them more archiving rules up, just to make sure you're keeping your device nice and clean. Then we'll hop into the managed team. So we've got a load of new features in here. We can now have a whole HR section. So what Luke's going to do, he's going to set me up as his engineer in the system today. and you'll see the new parts of the system we've added as well. So if we just go through the section, name, email, obviously my mobile number, and it'll give me a password as well. So this is the detail that you pass to your staff member. Once you set them up, you give them this email that you've created for them, and obviously the password, and they can log in. And then there's two particular roles empowered now. So business owner is the main user, off the shelf, gets absolutely everything. Then we have our manager. Our manager can see nearly everything apart from maybe the hard settings of like your tax details and do some changes there. And you've also got your engineer level. Now, engineer off the shelf, they cannot see any pricing. They can do some set things within the software that you want them to. Again, these permissions are all customizable with us. We have more access to create. So if you've got an engineer that you want to see pricing, for example, we can give that access. So we upload a nice logo. So this goes into all the portal stuff as well. So it's important to go along, setting your signature up, and given a face to the name so it shows up in the portal for your customers, and any credentials and things as well. So this is my address of where I live. Obviously, you've got all the important things now as you run a business, so you've got to make sure they've got the right to work in the UK. So you can upload all of this detail. This becomes the HR side, so it replaces that file that will be stored in the business currently, and it just goes all as a digital format. And then this is the management information that's hidden from the actual user. So when are they available? If you want to book them into the diary, you want to make sure that they're only available on the days that they say they're working. So if there's subcontracts or anything like that you want to add to the system, it's really important. But you've got all of the images and things that you want to upload, that you may want to have some additional credentials that they're qualified for, that can make the customer feel a bit warm and fuzzy when they come into the job. So that's really the setting up of the team. And you can see there, Luke's managed to complete me. So now I am all set up on the system. So that's the managed team. Then we hop into the company details, and this is where most of that detail that you were doing first in the initial stages pulls through. So in here, you've got your company email. You've also got a BCC email as well. So if you want a copy of everything that comes out of the system, or the accountant wants a copy, for example, you can pop your accountant's email in there, and it will ping out everything to the third party as a blind copy. And you've also got obviously your address at the bottom as well that we entered from the initial part. So that's your company details. Then we hop into currency and payments. So this is really, what do you accept as a different type of payment? So obviously we've got all the different currencies in here. And also, do you accept check? Do you accept bank transfer? Do you accept cash? You just have all these options here to turn them on. And you also have your sum up capabilities in here as well. So we have sum up, which is our integrated payment provider. They have card terminals or a payment link that you can actually offer directly onto your invoices. So you can actually get your customer with you, and you can actually send that information to the card reader, and it will mark the invoice as paid, and it does all that nice sort of automated stuff. So we've got that integration, and the percentage is 1.69 across the board. So it's a very good percentage you can get saved there. So setting up your currency and payments there, and then we hop into tax and accounting, which is normally the daunting, scary box for most people. And here we go with our sort of VAT registration details, and then the accounting details. So we can go in here, set up the normal stuff. We've also got making tax digital. So if you are a VAT registered business, obviously you can send your VAT returns directly from our software now. So the portal no longer exists as it used to, and you need to obviously submit this information digitally, and we actually have the capability. So you just click that, click the connect to HMRC button, and it will ask you for your UTRs and details for HMRC for your business, and they just connect together. And then all the detail you put in Powered now, so your invoices and obviously your expenses and costs, all of that information is taken into consideration obviously on that VAT return, and you can just click a button and file it with a couple of clicks. You've got tax rates in here, so obviously if you have any predetermined tax rates or special tax rates, you can set them up. And we've also got the accountant's integration. So we integrate directly with Xero. So if your accountant uses Xero, or you run Xero alongside the business, you can set all this up in here. Now, Xero is a little bit complex, and obviously the more you talk about financials and tax, the more details and complex it can be. So what we always suggest is inquire to us. We can help you set this up, but there's a few sort of stages that you need to do, a matter of which the setup matters, whether it be sending information from Xero to Powered now or vice versa, and making sure then contacts are set up all correctly as well. So you can configure all Xero in here, but we will also always recommend to book in a training session for that. So we won't cover that in this overview, but it's important to know it's there. Then we get to our document layouts and logos. So this is where you'll probably spend your initial time getting things set up. So again, we've got all of the bits along the top where sort of if you want to hide your pricing layout. So you've got information that you want to display, maybe sort of descriptions or quantities or unit costs. You turn these on and off as Luke's clicking there, and whatever's green is what shows on the document, and whatever's grey is what's hidden. So people might want to hide the markup or discount that's shown, and might want to hide the subtotals. You just do your document types along the bottom of what you want to show there. Then we've got the terminology and email. So if you want to change your quote to estimate, you can do that in here. And we've got the attachments part here as well. So obviously, as you're sending documents individually, you can upload attachments, so your T's and C's or anything as you're sending things on the go. But what this is for is basically if you want to upload maybe your T's and C's you send out with every quote, you just upload the file as you see Luke done, and then you tick the particular box that you want it to go out with. So Q's for quote, I for invoice, and J for job sheet. So it really depends what you want to send out. So you might want to say a payment slip with many thanks with the invoice, and obviously your T's and C's with your quotes. Then the other ones are just envelope and numbering rules. So it's really not really worth mentioning, but if you want to change some suffix and prefixes in here, so we have our documentation will start with QTE. If you want to change that for something that's customizable in your business, you just change that detail on here, and that's where your document sequence number will follow there. So if we hop back to the layout and logos, what we've got here is the documents, so we set them up. So this is going back in that early stages that we saw earlier, where we can set up our logos and our headers and footers. So we click into these, and this is where you can put your terms on how long your quote's valid for, and also your invoice details. You want to put your bank details on there, obviously making sure that you're getting paid. That's the most important thing about using us, and obviously running your business. So you pop your details in there, as you can see Luke popping in there, and there's a different document types for any header or footer that you would like, but you just fill in that detail as much as you want. Then we hop onto next, and we just click next. Really, this is just a matter of if you want to show or hide your company details and documents and things like that. It's all customizable, of course, and then it will give you a bit of an overview of what your invoice would look like with some made up descriptions. And obviously the slicker you want to make this, the more professional look that you have, obviously the more work hopefully you're likely to win with your quotes, etc. So we always recommend definitely getting involved in there and making them have that personal feel. Then we go on to forms and certificates. So the compliance side of Powered Now is obviously huge. Initially, you want to set your logo. So you want to put your logo on your certificate. So again, we'll upload our logo here and we'll pop that on there. And then you've got all of your credentials. So obviously, if you are gas safe registered or off tech or sort of electrical engineer, you will have this detail and these accreditations that you will need to fill in, competence schemes, etc. And you'll just sort of choose and select what you want in here. So this is where all the setups are done, and you just carry on filling the detail that's relevant to you. Obviously, it will also populate your staff members' details here as well, so you can obviously fill in their details as well as a main company user, as the business owner. So it's all ready to go. And then on the sort of next tab, what you've got is your available forms and certificates. So this is what you want to show to be available. So obviously, if you're in gas, you want your gas certificates to show. If you're not in electrical, you can turn all that information off. So you can select what you want to be available in the creation stages of what certificates, and then you set up some numbering rules and some email settings that go alongside it, and the reminder settings here as well. So obviously, every time you send out a certificate, it will remind customer of X in X amount of time, and you can set that all up in here, and it's all customizable again. So it's another expansion of our latest version, is we've got reminders on every single certificates, and it's all customizable now. So we'll hop back and we'll go into the diary and schedule. So this is a new tab with some more details in here. So this is where we've got our normal old detail with regards to signing detail to our users, etc. But we've now got our access to the customer portal as well, and some statuses here. So again, this is only customizable from an engineer level if you speak to us, but you've actually got a drop down on the diary where you can change the appointment status. So work complete, follow up required, as you can see here, and the engineer can click that and change it. And obviously the office team know exactly what's going on, and they can sort of carry on from that work. So it's a great feature there. It's worth setting it up in here. Then you've just got, again, your working hours. What is the hours to be booked in the diary? Obviously, we don't want you to be booking outside of your work hours unless you want to do that. So you just set up your detail in here. You've also got your appointments in here with regards to how you want them to look. So we've got this as a new feature again. You might want to populate the address, you might want to populate the price, what's important to you to show in the diary, or what's important for your staff to see in the diary. So you can do that there. And then we've also got the Google Calendar at the bottom as well. So if you do use a Google Calendar in the business, you can sync directly to your Google Calendar, and all of that information will just send across from Powered Now's calendar to Google's. Now we pop on these appointment types. So this is where the portal really comes into its own. So you can create these off the shelf, and you don't have to have these for your customers to book in, but you create some appointment types. So it might be like boiler service. It might be regular work that you do for your customers all the time, set price, set time, and you can create these in the system. And then when you're actually booking in jobs for your staff members, you can select these types, and we'll show you how to do that in the creation stages later. But more importantly, in the portal, these appointments become available for customers to book in if you allow them to as well. So as you can see, Luke's just creating a particular appointment type, giving it some requirements that it needs, the price, etc. And then what we'll do is we'll see at the bottom, this is where it's available for internal use, that's obviously in the business, or external use for customers, and the availability you want them to be able to be booking that in. So once we click save, we'll go to the online availability. So this is where you turn this on for your customers to be able to book it in the portal. So this is a premium feature only, and this is where it just gives that customer the control, obviously keeping your diary busy really. Obviously, if you don't want that, you can turn that off. But it's a really requested feature that we were asked for, was to help manage workloads and inquiries coming into the business, and to just really fill in their diary. So you've got the option here. You can do all the default texts, how many appointments you want to set per day to be allowed to be booked, so we don't want to overfill your diary. Obviously, we've got conflicts that come along, and you'll see maybe one of those later, that if you do overbook, the system will tell you and will make you aware before you make that. And then we've got an exceptions to the rule. Obviously, sometimes you might have an exception where you've got a company event. No, we don't want any information going in the diary that day. You can just literally create that in there, and we will allow nobody to book information into the diary on those days. So bit of an expansion of diary here. As you can see, we've got some cool new features and some overviews that come as well, but we'll come into that on the creation stage. Subscription is subscription. Obviously, we've got free plans in here. We've got the business professional and the premium plan. So really it tells you in each plan what you get. So we won't go into that detail. We've got a number of other videos that explain what's in each tier, but you choose your subscription in there when you're ready to subscribe. But again, what I always recommend is speak to the team. We might have a special offer on. It may be worth having a word and seeing if we can do something a bit better for you than you see. Then we hop into CIS and costs. So this is where you set up your CIS. So if you do with CIS, the construction industry scheme, you set that up in here, and obviously you add your UTR and all the detail in there, your national insurance number, for making sure that you're dealing with CIS correctly, and we have all the reports that come out the back of it. And then you've got your supplier invoices tab as well, which is just a matter of how would you like it to be rejected and accepted. But again, we'll show you that in a bit more detail in the creation stages. Now we've got our product catalog. So this is a professional feature, and really this is what we call refer to as a product list, or saved priced items and pricing lists. Maybe you go to your supplier and you will get a catalog of a CSV file of all the items and prices that they do. And what you can actually do is upload that file directly into the system, or you can create them one by one. So obviously if you've got the file, we can also help you upload that as well. But if you want to add them one by one, as Luke is doing here, you can see that it's really easy to get an item in the system. And now what that is for is on your creations of documents that we'll see later, that you can actually select from your catalog, or type a basic description or a code from that catalog, and it will populate that information all with the price, and you can just click save. And the real benefit of that is you can obviously keep up to date with industry inflation. It happens all the time. It's really important to make sure that you're offering up-to-date pricing. Obviously, them margins get squeezed within the business. So once you've got this pricing, you can export all the detail, add your margins to it, add a markup to it if you want to, and then re-import it, and you've now got current up-to-date pricing at all times. You can also break these down into categories. So if you want it to be more than just material, labor and equipment hire, there might be personal expenses or anything else. You can create some categories in here. And then when you do the creation stages, you select what category that particular pricing item belongs to. So really great feature. We fully recommend getting in there and getting it set up. It can take a bit of time, but we definitely recommend doing it. Then there's the communications tab. So this is a brand new tab to our latest and newest version. You've got who you send notifications to. So obviously customer appointment notifications, who is it going to, who's it going to trigger? You've got all of that detail there. Then we've got the internal notifications tab as well. So obviously it's a matter of notifying staff, notifying them by text. And then we've got all of the contents as well. So this is where we've changed it. So our old users, this used to sit in the document and logo settings. This now sits in here. So we've got loads of different categories and different sections in here, and the SMS control as well, where you can customize the subjects and contents that go along with each type of document or each type of action. And these are all replied to as well. If you're a premium user, your customers can reply to all of this detail within the portal. If not, your customers can just see this information on a one-time view. But again, it's really important to set that up, make sure it's got the personalization from the business that you want it to have. So that's all the communications tab in there.
I was just going to add on that as well. Within the internal notifications, there's a slight change to how that works, where you can now configure each specific notification to be sent by email. You do also have the option to notify the main user, managers only, or selected users within the company, which is very, very good and configurable there. So yeah, just a bit to add on that.
Absolutely, I'm always missing a feature. But yeah, as you can see, lots has changed and we're still getting used to some of these changes ourselves. So that's the communications tab, and then we've got the customer portal. So in here, what you need to do is just really set your logo. So this is what displays for your customers to see. So again, company logo, and you can also display the project. So that's really important if you're dealing with sort of a landlord and you've got a number of properties you might be working for him. So if you display that title in there, then obviously the landlord knows exactly what project and title and property you're working on. So that's really a walkthrough of the settings and how you sort of set things up and get rocking. And now we'll just go through a bit of the navigation. So Luke, why don't you just talk to us through the left-hand side and then along top row and tell us a bit about that.
No problem. Okay, so from the dashboard, it will look slightly different if you're on a mobile version as well. So it will look a lot like this. There's no issue. I'm just doing this from the desktop version, but from the home screen, you've got a few important places to notify us if you have any queries or issues at all. There's a little chat system down the bottom right-hand side of the screen. If you click here, you can have a look at a few of the features. There's videos and articles on how to deal with anything in Powered Now. You do also have a little chat system down here. If you need to contact us, you can just click get help, write what your query is, and we'll be available. So that's the sort of notification center to get in contact with us. On the home screen though, at the top, we do have a referral scheme. So that will take you through to the referral scheme if you need that. A sync data button. Powered Now works offline, so if you don't have any signal, it's great to still carry on with your day, obviously saving you a lot of time to wait until you get back into a signal area. What will happen is information will queue up on your device. You'll see some numbers appear next to here. Numbers will just synchronize and they will reduce and disappear once you get into a good internet, and then that will be visible across the account. You'll see it spin around like it just did there. Again, the support button, that will take you through to an articles section as well, if you need that. And we've got team location and team chat. So this is only applicable to anyone with multiple users within Powered Now. So this is part of the tracking that's set up. Obviously, we've not set that up, but yeah, you can see on a map where your appointments are. You can show the track as well. So if you've got the location services enabled on your engineer's device, you can see obviously where they've been and where they're at. So you can keep in contact with that customer to tell them where they're at. Then obviously we've got the little team chat feature here. So you can go into the team chat and you've got, you can message people directly. Again, if you need to go into the settings, you can do. And you've got the profile here. So you've got edit profile, invite a friend, obviously. And then, yeah, you can settings and delete account or log out there. So on the home screen, you've got the quick action buttons. They do exactly what they say on the tin. A route one, obviously, you'll have to select a customer first. After you've done that, you can go and complete whatever you need to. We do have the agenda as well to view any unplanned appointments, create an appointment directly from the home screen, or a new reminder as well. So on the left-hand side, we've got a few tabs. This is where the majority of your navigation will be happening within Power Now. So just hopping into the diary tab. We've got a few different views in the diary. So we've got a day, week, 14-day and monthly view as well, which is quite helpful. And we also have a scheduled view, which is a list view of your appointments, which is quite helpful. Then there's one new scheduled view of the diary, which is only available on the premium tier. So as you can see, it's a scheduled, more of a landscape view of the diary to make sure you're allocating all the appointments efficiently. We do also have unplanned appointments, which you have a new drag and drop feature where appointments will come into either unassigned or unplanned for the day. You can then just drag the appointment straight into the diary. Okay, so and then from here, we do have a few other features here. So you can just add an appointment, task, lead or action, holiday sickness, and reminders within the diary. We do also have the filter as well, so you can filter by status, which is very helpful, or just filter a specific engineer. Okay, so from here, we've got the projects tab. So just a brief overview of just navigating this. We have a search bar. You can search by project name only. If you untick this, this will then search everything within the project. Again, at the top right of the screen, I did add a few of them project statuses in, and you can just quite easily select and filter your projects by status. From here, you can access the customer record if you click the customer or the project itself from here as well. So, and then you've got the invoiced and paid amounts against each project, which is just nice to have a look at it at a glance. We've got the sales tab. So sales tab, everything coming into the business. Obviously, you'll be able to see all quotes, sales invoices, job sheets, and payments, as you can see the tabs at the top. Just on the drop down here, you can see each status. So you have a raised status. That means it's been confirmed in the account. However, it's not been sent to the customer. We've got sent. Obviously, that's if it's been sent via email or text. Unaccepted and rejected. So when it goes accepted, it will go into a green color, rejected red. Sales invoices tab. We've got the show all again. The only difference is sent is replaced with pending payment. You do have other statuses regarding what payment you've applied to the document. So you've got overpaid, part paid, paid, beyond due date, which the due date is set within the tax and accounting settings that we showed you at the start, and whether there's disbursement. Job sheets, obviously job sheets will just populate here nice and easily. And on the payments tab, so you can search for your payment if you need to, and there's also a filter. So you can just view it by refunds, not refunds, or a specific payment method. Okay, so just moving on to the cost tab, we do have purchase orders in the system as well. So you can convert your quote into a purchase order to send to your supplier, which is very helpful. Then you can convert that into a supplier invoice from there, which it gives you traceability of your materials, what you're spending. We do have the appropriate statuses as well. So show all, approved and not approved. We've got the supplier invoices as well. So you, again, approved, not approved, and disbursement. But you have two ways of creating this. A quick supplier invoice entry, which is more like a spreadsheet entry where you can't apply any, a supplier or expense to it. The single supplier invoice entry, you select a supplier that you wish to associate this material cost with. Then you do also have the option to select a customer and project. Expenses, exactly the same as the supplier invoices, really. We've got the quick expense entry and single expense entry, and any payments associated to that. Okay, so all the information that's entered in your sales and cost tab, you have a business overview, which can be done from the reports and finances page. You have the monthly and annual view, charts that populate from the information that is in the business performance page, and you have a number of reports and accounts export that you can report on. So appointments, projects, documents, outstanding invoices, you name it, you can export it all from here. Accounts export is more for your accountants if you're using sort of a manual submission to HMRC still. So yeah, you've got that option to be able to export that information if you need. CIS reports, obviously I've enabled CIS in the settings that we showed you earlier, which will now populate a CIS reports page. So you can send payment and deduction statement to your subcontractors just quite easily. Any CIS applicable invoices can be sent straight to the subcontractor. You also have for the CIS 300 report to submit that to HMRC if you need to. And then you've got the subcontractor report as well, which is very easy to gather all that information. Contacts tab. So here is where you can view any contacts that you have in the system or suppliers. Contacts tab is really good to view anything that you've ever created under one contact record. So this will have, this could be used for a single private customer with one address. This could be used for an estate agent with hundreds of addresses. So yeah, very good place to locate historic information if you need to. We do have the export contacts button and create a new contact there as well. Notes, so you can add a new note into the system, and you can also assign these to projects if you need to. So it can be quite helpful. Everyone does see these notes though, so it is company-wide. And then we've got the forms and certificates. So lastly, on the forms and certificates, you can see all certificates that you've created within the account. Obviously, they have different statuses, which is sent, confirmed, and draft, because you can save them for later if you need to go back to it. But that's a bit of an overview of the navigation of the app. So I'll pass you back over.
Perfect. Cheers, Luke. Yeah, obviously knowing what to do and where to go is important in Powered now. So we always try to make it one-click stuff. So as Luke explains, sort of creating a quote and then one-click stuff to supplier invoice and then one-click stuff to purchase order. It's all what we try to do. So what we want to do now is just take you through some creation. So we're going to show you sort of Luke as maybe the business owner, the manager in the business who's maybe creating the workflow, creating the schedule in the diary, and booking out the work, maybe doing some of the paperwork side of things. And then we'll also flip over as well and show you as an engineer view on a mobile. So how they will interact with the software, what they would do and update. So this is where if you've ever had a training session with us or a demonstration with us, we'll take you through a similar workflow to this is exactly what we'll do now. So Luke, just take us through a normal particular workflow, explain us what we're doing, how it's important, where we're creating, and then we'll get to the engineer side of things after that.
No problem. Okay, so as mentioned in sort of the bit of navigation, we've got, well, the first thing we need to do is add a contact. So new inquiry comes in from whatever method. I would normally just go create new customer or supplier just down the bottom. So we go into new contact. Just going to enter some details here.
Yeah, while Luke's just completing that, I'll just explain through some of the important parts of here. So obviously you've got a customer and a supplier. Obviously if it's a supplier, you add that and you just tick the boxes at the top. The more detail you fill in here is important because you actually contact customers via obviously their mobile number, etc. in the portal. And obviously we've got the postcode lookup feature as well in here. And as we go to the more details tab, you'll see that there's where we can add these additional email addresses, maybe an additional contact. So there might be someone in the business that receives the invoice address, sort of the invoice, sorry, and someone else that may be dealing with quotes. And you can add the different email addresses and contact people within the business. And then you've also got sort of your detail to set up your sites and things like that as well. So if you want to add more addresses, so this is where this landlord and tenants maybe scenario comes in, you can just fill in each address for the tenant, and it will all sit under the landlord's particular record in Powered now. And then from there, you can just manage his properties and notify the people that need to be notified about what particular things are done at those properties. So as you can see, Luke's there has just created a site. They're really easy to do. You just add the site, and then you can select what job you are working on for that particular customer. So you can see the system will prompt us with a project always, and we will click yes on this way. The best way to describe a project is it's a folder where everything sits for that one customer. So whether you do a quote, an invoice, whether you have an appointment, some communications that's sent out or sent in, it all can sit within the project folder. And it's important to keep that organized, keep that structured. It's a one overview of everything that's happened. So as you can see, Luke here is just creating the project. So we're at a blank project now, and you can carry on, Luke.
Okay, perfect, no problem. So now I've made the project. There's a few things that you can do. So I created a few appointment statuses, so we could maybe put it into awaiting job confirmation, which can be done at the top right of the screen. That would then obviously let everyone else know, if there's more than one of you in the office, what status the project is at, which is very helpful and transparent across the company. So yeah, just having a quick look over the project now. So there's a few things that you can do. If you need to update a site address on a project, you can just click the settings cog there if you need to and just adjust that. But for the workflow and purpose of the demonstration, we're just going to go through and create an appointment now. So I'm going to be assigning this to Liam, and he's going to show you from there. So anything you need to add within the project, the way I look at it, just look at the left-hand side. Anything you want to add in the project, go from the left. If you're looking to create any documents from the project, take it out on the right. So we need content in the project to be able to make a document. So if we just add a new item, we've got a list here. So notes, photos, you can upload a file, which is helpful. Send a message to the customer via text or email. Pricing, which we'll use a bit later on to be able to create a document with. Reminders, appointment, log time, and certificate. So we're going to go and click on the appointment. Use the selected site address that we've set up. Then I'm on the appointments page now. So what I can do, I can set the date to whatever time and date I need to. You do have set duration as well, which is a new feature that's come in. So I can put all day working hours as an example, and then that will pre-populate the time that I've set in the diary and schedule settings. So if I need to make sure that Liam's not overbooked in the diary, I can also click view diary here to make sure, okay, so Liam's free, that's great. On the description, we've got, again, so you can just type in whatever you need to in here. But as I said earlier, in the diary, in the new diary settings, there is a drop down where I've got the information. So let's just go and quote customer as an example. Like so. It pre-populates the information, just going to assign Liam to the job, and I can assign multiple people at this point as well if you need to, and everyone will receive a notification. Then you've got distance, so that's just working out if you charge for mileage to your customer as well. And then you've got internal notifications, so that's whoever's assigned to the appointment. Just going to click save. And then I did select to send a confirmation to ask the customer to ask whether we want to send it first. If I click yes, it does give you this option. So I can send it to, let's just say, the email CC and the main customer in the system as well, which is very helpful. Like so. So that is just processing now. So yeah, that will get sent to the customer. And from there, the engineer will receive that reminder. So up to that point, the next thing would be for the engineer to carry out the work. So I'm going to pass you back over to Liam, and he's going to share his screen.
Perfect. So hopefully you can see that. So
There we go.
obviously what we can do from here, if I just click, so this is the mobile view initially, so I will talk you through this. So obviously we've got the quick action buttons here, and then we've got the navigation. So it's just exactly the same as what you saw Luke sharing earlier, but now it's just hidden away in this screen. So if I click on the diary here, what you can see is I've got this job, it's directly in my diary that Luke's booked for me. So I can actually click into that, and I've got some options in here for me as the engineer. So as an engineer, I can see that obviously he's given me the detail of when I'm meant to be there, obviously the detail for the customer, and I've also got any descriptions of work I need to carry out. I've got a few options from here, so I can check the distances and things as well. And I've also got this check-in button. So this check-in button at the bottom here is exactly the same as this check-in button on the top right-hand side. So that actually, if I click that, and what will happen is it actually starts me tracking the time of me spent on this particular job, and then it will timestamp the actual project with my name and the hours and the date that I was actually at this job. So it also shows in the diary for the office manager, so we can't quite show you that as we're in this view, but in Luke's diary as the owner, what he will see is the actual diary entry going black, and it shows that I've actually checked into the job. So it's a very good sort of view to see if everyone's checked into their jobs each day. So what have I got to do on this job? Obviously, I've got to look at it and I've got to quote it. So I've had a look at it. I'm quite happy with what I need to get done. So I can actually do work from this particular appointment. So if I click here, as you can see, I can create things from here. So I can add notes, add signatures, whatever it may be. So what I might do is I might add a note, and I'm going to let the office staff know that this work needs done.
Obviously, there can be a number of things that you can upload to the project whilst Liam's just doing this. So it's just good for information that gets uploaded straight away. Obviously, well, dependent on if the engineer has signal, but if not, it can get uploaded when they do get signal. So it could be photos, it could be notes, it could be a file as well. It could also be a certificate in the system. So there can be a number of things that can be uploaded to the project, which it just helps you have that the whole reason for the project timeline is for traceability across a job. So obviously a bit later on, once we've gone and completed this project, I'll go through from my side of things on the desktop view at the start to finish, and we'll go through exactly what we've covered in this demonstration.
Cheers, Luke. So I've obviously added some detail there. I mean, as an engineer, I can create documents if you want me to. Obviously, managers can create documents as well. So if I actually want to create the quote straight off the bat, I am able to do that. So I can literally just go to the main section of Powered Now. I can go to the sales. I can create a new quote. So rather than just tell the office of that detail, I can actually create it. So if you bear with me, I'm just going to hop down. As I've got my screen. Just hiding the creation button.
No problem. Okay, so obviously Liam's carrying out some work on the job. I'm just going to share my screen back again, so we can just hop onto here. Okay, so as Liam mentioned in the previous sort of comments there, you can see that Liam is checked into this appointment by the sort of black background associated to the appointment, and you can see a little spinning circle here that he's still currently checked into it. Obviously, let's just imagine that he's checked out of the appointment, uploaded some notes, photos to the job. So the next thing, obviously, if we need to do this, would be to quote the job. So I can just quite easily open the project. I can see what information is needed. So I'm going to firstly just create a priced item within the project. This is how I will create it to be able to create a document. So I've got the pricing button here. I can enter the title. So in here, I can add a new item. So I've got labor per hour as an example. So let's just add quantity of 5 hours in there, I reckon, for the job. And then I reckon to add some materials. So let's just do £300 for that. Okay. So let's just save that. You can also add discount or markup. This will apply to the whole document. So you can choose discount or markup on the drop down here. Then the percentage type. So you want a percentage or just an amount that you would like to adjust it by. So once we've done that, I've just enabled that and created the pricing item. So if I wanted to create a document from this, I will just click create document on the right hand side. Select the item, and also any notes and photos that the engineer has uploaded, I can also add that to the document if I needed to. So as you can see, I've got a number of different document types just up here. So create job sheet, create quote, invoice, purchase order, or supplier invoice. I'll just create a quote here. That will populate all the information that we've entered. So if you need to amend the document, you can either click back or edit the document from here or cancel the document creation. But for this, we're just going to click confirm. I've created a quote. So now it's time to send it to the customer. So if I just click send, it will ask me and give me the options again. So I can just send that if I need to. You can edit the email confirmation that is sent to the customer as well prior to this if you wanted to personalize it. As you can see, I've got a number 1 in brackets next to it. That was because earlier on when we set it up, I added an attachment to be sent with all of my quotes. So if we click send document, that'll get sent over. And then, yeah, really, it's just a case of going onto the system, obviously the customer opening it and accepting the quote, which I should be able to just hop onto here. Like so. I'm unable to accept it as I'm not the customer. So you can see, obviously, from here, once the customer opens the portal, they have the option to, yeah, view the quote. So they can open it, send a message about it if they wanted to, accept or reject it, and they can also download it, which is very helpful. Okay, so let's just hop back onto the job, because we'll cover the customer portal in a little while. So another thing is, if a customer verbally accepts the quote, that's absolutely fine. You can also click the options tab. You can print it off if you need to, but there's a status column where you can actually accept it on the client's behalf through the application, which is very helpful. So yeah, so we've got the quote up to the quote stage so far. So let me just hop back into the project.
Hopefully we win that work, Luke. Hopefully we win
Yeah,
that work.
hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, also just worth mentioning about the accept and reject tool there. So we have obviously done a drastic amount of homework with regards to homeowners and this information understanding of quotes and how to win work and be more efficient. Now we understand that this old rule of the customer will get 3 quotes and they'll look at the 3 different quotes and accept the best quote, etc. We don't believe that that's necessarily true. We find the people that can get the quote there the fastest, communicate the most efficiently, tend to win the work. So a lot of our users, we find about 80% of our users may lose work, will win it an additional time, second time around, by that rejection tool. So it's a really great feature there. So definitely worth contemplating that. If you can lower your margins and still win that work, just because there's one rejection does not necessarily mean that it's not going to go forward. So it is a great feature there, worth bearing in mind. Sorry about that, Luke. Just wanted to interject there. Obviously, back to the workflow. So you've obviously got the quote going. It's either book me an appointment, so me to go back out there and obviously get this work done.
Exactly. Right. Okay. So again, there are a number of places that you can navigate the system to be able to do what we're doing. So obviously, if you need to create an appointment, you can just go in the diary. You can do it from a contact record. There's a number of places. I'm just showing you the most efficient way directly from the project, so that you're sort of, it's all encompassing within the project, which is very helpful. So again, just click on my project. I'll go to add new item again. Click on the appointments tab. So again, now I'm just going to assign an appointment to Liam. So again, we'll use the drop down. So do work. Obviously, there'll be some more information on there as well if you need to. We can update appointment statuses as well. So follow up required, work complete, if this is prior to the appointment's creation. So I'm just going to book it in for Monday the 22nd on here. So let's just book it in for 10:30 to 4:30 as an example. In here, again, just go onto the assigned team members like we did before, select Liam, and again, just click save on there. So whether I'd like to notify the customer again, so I just click yes, notify by all methods, then send notification at that point. So again, obviously, it would be a repeat of pretty much what Liam's what Liam showed us from the engineer side of things. So again, they'll add notes, photos about what they've done, what work they've completed, and yeah, just get that final report saying the customer's happy. There is also another option when you click on the appointment from a mobile device, which is very helpful. So under the options tab, it's not available on the desktop version, but it is available on mobile and tablets. There's a capture signature button. So at the end of the job, you can go to the customer, hey, are you happy with this? And they can then sign it off and just accept that they're happy with the work that is carried out as well.
Yeah, there's a few places you can get signatures in the system. You can get them within projects, on documents. So yeah, obviously the compliance side of the world that we're in, obviously as things go forward, the more that we try to give you that protection as well. So definitely worth mentioning that. Cheers,
Definitely.
Luke. Well, I'm just going to share my screen now. So back to me. So obviously I'm the engineer now on this job again, and now we need to get this work done. So if we go to the diary, as we did before, and we just skip to the day that Luke booked us in. We can see he's booked us in the diary, and here is our job. So we click in there, and from here we do exactly as we did before. So what do we need to do on the job, get the work carried out? So Luke on this particular job might want me to upload different information. So maybe he wants me to have a photo, so I can click the add photos button and upload a photo directly from my device of, say, some damaged wall or damaged property or whatever it may be that you want to make the office aware of, obviously around this job. And if I just go back here, I can add whatever I want in here. But on this particular job, I needed to complete a form. I had some work to do, maybe some servicing to do. So I can click on this and then obviously select what certificate I want to be completed for the job. So if I just scroll down, I can find what certificate I need. So I'm going to do a gas safety record for this, the CP12. And then it's all about the creations. Okay, so this is all the detail you'll know much more about than we will. Obviously we've got all the information, but you know exactly how you should be filling these out. So you've got all the details for passes and fails, etc., adding compliances, any evidence that needs to be given. Obviously you've also got the signature there, so you can click that and sign the certificate, and also click that button and your customer can sign the certificate as well. So it's important to get a sign off on these documents. And when you're happy through these creation stages, obviously it's going to make me definitely fill in a few different bits.
Yeah, it's just the license number. Obviously, you need to have a valid engineer license number
That'll
at the
be
top.
why.
That is so. Yeah. So that's obviously once it's entered once. That's the license number that they get each year from there. But yeah, so I think that needs to be done from the account. So
Settings, yeah. So I
exactly.
can't
So
show you that, but
yeah,
that would be giving me the certificate, and it would populate the certificate as a preview. Obviously I wouldn't send that off. That's basically for the office staff to do. But that's just how how you create the certificate. So you can just create again anything from this appointment that you want, and add it to there. So notes, photos, log the time. Again, we can check in on this job, check out on that job again, so that the staff get that project and that timestamp. So in an ideal scenario, I've done my job. I've carried out all the work. I've let Luke know. Obviously, if I want to let the customer know I'm on my way, I can click that. There's also some navigation as well. So a little sort of a miniature sat nav can show up and show me the directions that I need to take on a particular job. And when we've got all of this detail here again below, I can open the project from here, see all the project detail that Luke sees or not sees, depending on what permissions that I have. It just really depends on what you want to show. So that's me done as the engineer. I've got all the work done. I've let Luke know, and it's now Luke's back to the office or manager to get the ball rocking.
perfect. So yeah, again, I can just go access the detail directly from the project if I needed to, or within the diary or contact record. So I would just click on the onto the project. Again, we can see all the content, see the gas safety certificate here. So we can just go through, confirm that information if we needed to. So we're just going to add that in. And that's how the certificate would look basically. So upon confirming the certificate in the system, a reminder will get set up again, like we showed you in the settings where we could do that. So yeah, all very, very helpful to be able to keep a full log of exactly what's gone on with a job within the job. So from here, obviously, let's just recap of where we've been so far. So if we just scroll right down to the bottom, we've got the appointment that was created. Liam attended it. Confirmation was sent to the customer. He then uploaded notes. I then created a pricing item for the work to be carried out. It was then accepted by the customer via phone call, let's just say. Quote was obviously sent. The appointment was there to do work, which Liam was assigned to. Again, confirmation sent of that. The gas safety record was created, or whatever certificate you needed for that job. So now it's really a case of just completing that work by creating an invoice. So obviously, if you deal with deposits, stage payments on larger jobs, the only thing that you'll need to do is just create a pricing item according to the deposit, and then just repeat that process. So add pricing item, create the priced item for the deposit, create a document from that. Then any further stage payments, you would add another pricing item for the following payments there. So an easy way to convert a quote into an invoice is, firstly, you can just locate the quote. So that, again, that can be done within the project. It can also be done from the sales tab or within the contact record itself. So from the quote accepted, I can then click options, and I've got convert to invoice just here, which is very helpful. So let's just move that across, and I can click convert to invoice. So once I've done that, like 2 clicks of a button, that populates the information. It does display TBA. That just means it's not been assigned a document number at this moment in time. And when I synchronize it to the server, then it will. So that'll just do it automatically in the background for you. So at that point, again, we've got pay by card reader with the SumUp integration that we have. So you can then, if you're there with the mobile device and your SumUp card reader, you can take the payment there and then. Really easy. So got a few different options. You can print it off, mark a payment against it, which I'll show you in a second. And then, yeah, a few other options like editing, viewing the document online, downloading it. You can see the history to see when it was edited and bits like that. So we do have show hide fields as well. So if you've got a particular customer that wants a full breakdown of everything, you can just adjust it for this one document and not against every other document, which is very helpful. So again, we'll just click send at that point. So send via whatever methods I needed to really. And yeah, it's just really waiting for the payment. If it's not done by SumUp, it will, well, if it's not done by SumUp, you just have to mark it as paid. If you've got the Xero integration, you can also reconcile the transactions from that side. Yeah, if you need to mark a document as paid, just a couple of clicks. So you can click options, then click the payment button, select the amount that was paid, the date it was paid, and by the payment type, and then you can enter a reference if you want to. You've got record payment here as well. Record payment just records it, doesn't send anything to the customer. If you've got record and send receipt, you can just send it a confirmation of the payment as well to them. It's very helpful. So obviously when we get to the end of this job, you can also just hop back in the project, maybe create a reminder to follow up with the customer. Obviously, you have the automated reminders off the back of the certificates anyway, because we have them on every certificate now, which is very helpful. But yeah, that's sort of an ideal workflow from start to finish of a job.
Yeah, it's never that straightforward, and we fully appreciate that. There'll always be spanners in the works, and obviously we give you all of the options to create them moments when they happen. There's all the different features that we offer, whether it be photos and notes or communications to and from customer or communications to and from staff internally, that keeps everyone up to date. Everyone knows exactly what's happening. So cheers for that, Luke. It's exactly what we need. It's a walkthrough of our sort of ideal workflow for most of our customers. So what I would like to do just before we end this overview is just talk about the customer portal. So obviously the customer portal is a brand new feature, and it comes in what I would call two views. So basically there's one particular view that it works with, and that's on anything but premium. So that's as the business or professional tier. So if you send your customer an appointment or a document or whatever it may be from Powered Now, they can actually click that, and it's basically a one-time view for that particular document. So it's not the only time they can view it, but they can only see the one document in there and engage with the one document. And they can't obviously book into your diary either, but they can view the appointment if it's an appointment that you sent them. Then we've also got what we call our premium portal. So the premium portal, customers have this capability of booking directly in. So these are these jobs that we were creating earlier in the tick boxes for the availability to be booked online. And then what happens is they can actually come and see everything that you've ever done for them. They've got these. Also, they can see the engineer that's coming to the job, and they can put a face to it from the credentials that you fill in the HR side of things. So you can see here, as much detail as you fill in there is what populates there. So your customers can have that feel, they can put a face to the name. It gives you credibility, gives the customer confidence and security as well. So it's a great features there. You can send messages from the portal. So again, in premium, that information goes directly into your project for messages that are coming from the portal, but that's only a premium feature. So the real benefits of the portal are getting your customers to book into your diary. Obviously, it's really important. It keeps your workflow going. You've also got this multiple document and appointment view. So what we say about the benefit of, you're definitely slowing business down with probably inquiries into the business. I've lost a certificate, I've misplaced it. Can you send me a copy of X, Y, and Z? That will never happen anymore. They just create their own login to this portal, and they can go and see, as you can see Luke clicking at the bottom, all the different documents that or whatever it may be. And this is where they set up their password. So they set up their own login for them. So all they need for access to their own portal is to be a premium user and for that customer to receive something from Powered Now. And then they can create this and go and log in whenever they want to view all of that information. Credibility is a huge thing. And obviously, we need to make sure that we go full circle in the communications as well. So you've got the dark mode and light mode as Luke's flicking around there. I'm definitely a bigger fan of the dark mode, and it's better for my eyes for sure. But again, accepting, rejecting, looking at all of the things in here. And giving the customer the full journey, keeping up to date with all the communications that's going on, is a real key point. So it just takes all of the emphasis away from the office, and staff members having to answer the phone and chase you for that work. It just becomes a really easy option for your customer just to manage it themselves. So really great features in there. It's a huge part of the portal. So huge part of our latest release. And if there's any questions you do have, we're more than happy to take you through some training. Obviously, this demo video is to hopefully get you help and get you started, but we do offer one-to-one videos as well. So if you actually want to book a one-to-one session with a member of the team, we can talk you through these, learn a little bit more about your business and tailor this a bit more to you. We appreciate this walkthrough we're giving you today may not be exactly suited to your business. Every business is unique. So again, if you want that one-to-one walkthrough where we can tailor it and set it up a bit more around your industry, then just hit the chat button or go to Powered Now website. We have a diary in there where you can actually just book that directly in to one of our team, and we can look after you with the hand holding there. So I don't think there's anything else to add, Luke. Is there anything you want to add more at all?
No, not really. I was just obviously just doing this in the background whilst you were talking, just about booking an appointment in. So obviously you can book existing customers that have been sent any content from Powered Now. You can then just click on book appointment, choose from the appointment types that we set up that you were allowing customers to book in the diary from. And then you can choose the project it was associated to as well, and the date. So you can then book that straight into the diary, and yeah, then it gives you that option available to there. So obviously I actually booked it, so I could change, you can change the appointment to request time instead. So if you don't want your customers booking directly in the diary, you can now allow them to book unplanned for the day. So it will go into here. You receive an email notification that this has been booked in as well, requested by the customer. You then call them, get the information that exactly when works for the customer or yourself. Then you can just simply drag into the diary. So yeah, nice and easy if you need to do that. And you can confirm it. So
Such an awesome feature. So it's
yeah,
a great
really,
feature.
really helpful. So yeah, obviously you might have saw me as well whilst Liam was talking in the background. I was sending a few messages and doing that side of things. If I just have a quick look, you can see that there'll be some direct messages. So really happy with the work carried out. Misspelt it there. Yeah, and then there was others sort of rearranging. If you need to respond to the customer, very, very easy. You just click the blue edit button, and then I can go, that's great, like so, and I can send it. So it's really, really helpful. You've got all the information. So no longer are the days where you upload a photo of the email that you've received. It's all digital. It's all within one place. And yeah, it's eventually going to save you a lot of time, a lot of money, and yeah, work for you.
Absolutely. Well, I think that comes to the end of our overview video. So again, just to reiterate, if you do want any help, obviously we have a team here that are more than happy to walk you through anything one-to-one. So again, visit our website, powerednow.com. You can see there's a demo or training button in there where you can book one. Likewise, the chat button that Luke showed you on the dashboard initially, if you want to come in there, speak to the team, we are real people in there, so we can actually talk you through anything you may want to know. We've got lots of useful articles and videos, very much like this, that talk you through each area and can help you sort of redefine what you want to do going forward. Again, just reach out to us. We're here to help. But if you have any questions, visit powerednow.com or just speak to us on the chat bubble. But thanks for now.